Hey folks, I'm your host BKP. We are at Circuit World here in Blue Ridge, and it's time for the All-Star Political Panel. And Merry Christmas to everybody. Bruce is on baby watch, so they're getting a baby for Christmas.
I think they're going to, yeah.
New grandchild, so good for him.
He sent me his winners and losers late last night.
I had a talk with him. I don't remember us saying that he could send a proxy. I asked him, I said, Bruce, did we agree that you could send a winner and loser? But yes, you will have his year-end winner and loser. So Bruce and Barb, Merry Christmas to you guys out there. And I know you're headed to Baton Rouge to see the new grandbaby. So that's a great Christmas gift. Jane is headed down to Atlanta. I do not want to go to the airport in Atlanta and pick somebody up, but our friend Jane is on her way to pick up her mother, so she couldn't be here. But Candace has her Charlie Brown Christmas, because we are proud of Charlie Brown, and we always love when Linus tells the Christmas story, whether the media likes it or not. And Snoopy there, hat. And Rick.
I just wore colors. I wore my colors today.
Bring in the colors. Okay.
Right.
You know, Melania did the White House in red, and she can't. I mean, you know, Melania couldn't get it. I don't know if you're going to be able to pull it off.
I think I might.
Huh?
I blend with the box.
Right.
Yeah, like you blend.
Yeah, like you blend. Oh, wait a minute. Marissa Torme, my cousin Vinny.
Yeah.
Did I get it?
Yeah.
Don't even try.
Yeah,
like you blend.
Yeah, like you
the
blend.
two Utes were walking in.
To what?
What's a Ute?
To what?
I'm sorry.
Then when he got the prom suit. It's the only one in town because you don't have 1 hour marching. I don't remember all the lines, but that was great.
And I wore this for you.
For you. Folks, there's 1,700 names in this box.
And we counted them this morning.
Yes, we did. We had them out. It's like how many M&Ms are in the jar? 1,700 names. A couple weeks ago, they decided they were going to give away your choice of a 43-inch TV. Now, when you say your choice, my choice would be the TV, period. All right, I would have the TV because this is awesome. This is I don't know what kind it is. But
it's an LG.
It's an LG. All right, it's LG. 43-inch TV or an Xbox, your choice. And that's at 10 o'clock on the dot. On the dot. We're going to pull it out of the box here. Maybe our pet of the week can pull it out. I don't know, pet of the year. But we're going to pull it out of the box. Now, you know what he was going to do? And I thought it would have been hilarious. And he was going to set me up. He was going to bring a box over with the only thing in it, my name. And they were going to have somebody pull it and be my name. And they weren't going to tell me, and then they were going to have him say, "Oh, I can't be the winner," and put it aside, pull another one and be my name, and say, "Oh, this thing's rigged." So we got 1,700. You did like and share, so that's going to happen. Okay, so according to MSNBC, the world has collapsed. So until we get back, we're going to enjoy today to the world that has collapsed. Let's start with
the day the earth stood still.
The day the earth stood.
The day after tomorrow.
Let's start with okay. Put it in your perspective, Kelly. Now there was a time, I know the three of us, we never really discussed it, but we discussed John Kelly as a well-respected man that's served his country, and he has give the ultimate sacrifice not only of himself but his son in this country. So John Kelly is leaving as chief of staff. Let me just set the scenario up and you guys go. He's leaving as chief of staff. Jim Mattis, after the Syrian pullout announcement, Mad Dog Jim Mattis, Secretary of Defense, will be leaving February 28th, the last day of February. His resignation letter is pretty tough. Pretty tough resignation letter. Okay, that's happened. Trump has no chief of staff. The new chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney, doesn't even like him. Okay. I mean, they played the clip. I say that jokingly, being facetious, but your chief of staff says you're a horrible person because it is on video. Mick Mulvaney said in a campaign thing, you know, Donald Trump was a horrible human being. It's on video, like we do. So that's your chief of staff. Everybody except Rand Paul and Mike Pompeo, maybe somebody else, but for the most part, A lot of people are upset with the Syrian move. They are. The fact of whether it's right or wrong, but a lot of people are upset with that move and the way it was done, and claiming there'll be a vacuum and so on and so forth. Stock market is tanking. Those are realities. The stock market is tanking. What say you about where this administration's at? What do you think about all of those things individually? And now we'll get to the shutdown in a minute. What do you think about all of those things individually, together, the administration? Go.
Okay. Number one, John Kelly has served 2 years, and I would imagine he is burnt out, because from what everyone says, the president is a 24-hour kind of guy practically. Most people can't keep up with that. So I think that, both him and Jim Mattis, now I realize Jim Mattis disagrees with the president on stuff, but he's also served 2 years, and I think they're just burnt out, and you can't agree with everybody, and if it's to the point that it disrupts your job performance, then you need to go. That's their prerogative. The only one that stayed with him that long is Kellyanne Conway, and she looks exhausted all the time. As far as the Syrian pullout, now I was talking to my husband, he served in Vietnam and Grenada and Panama. The Turkish people are going in there, and I think that's one of the reasons that Trump is pulling out the troops. The Turkish people in Vietnam, their policy was scorched earth. If they came through, they killed everybody, their puppy dog, their chicken, everything. So there's a good chance that they might be pulling our people out of harm's way because of policy differences. Also, what's down there is 2 Ranger battalions. Those are your brightest and your best out of the Army, except for the Green Berets and maybe Delta Force, but those are your highly, highly expensively trained people. They need to come out. If you're going to have ground troops, it would be better to have maybe average ground troops or regular troops, because those are our Ranger battalions, and they're very highly trained and expensive, and it would cost us a lot to lose them. And also, Dave Barry said it best about the Middle East. He said if the world was completely destroyed and 2 amoebas were left in the Middle East, they would violently hate each other and try to kill each other. So it's really a fight we can't win over there. I honestly think there's some ulterior motive for him doing that. I don't know what that might be. But I don't think we need to be anywhere in the Middle East right now, because, as I said, we can't resolve their problems. We get them all, okay, you over here, y'all good? Okay, and then next thing you know, they're fighting again, and I just don't, it's a never-ending story. And I don't...
Well, all right, let me get your take.
Trump ran on the fact that we're not going to be policemen to the Middle East anymore.
And I agree.
He ran on the fact that he was going to withdraw the troops. He's got a full staff that he looks to. They give him advice. He takes the advice, and he makes a decision based on everything that he hears. Whether he communicated it properly or not is not a problem to me. The fact is, we elected the president to be our commander-in-chief, and we've got to stand by his decision, and we've got to assume that he knows what he's doing, and the fact that he all along for the last 2 years has been playing chess while everybody's playing checkers. I believe that he's got, like you said, some kind of a motive, some kind of an ulterior motive. Make America first, make America first, make America great again. It's about bringing it home here. Now, the stock market, I don't know what's going to happen today. You've got everybody worrying about defense stocks, because if we're all of a sudden pulling out, are we going to be able to sell more bullets? It's just crazy what the stock market's doing. You can hear every economist in the world saying we're overreacting to something that hasn't even happened yet. So,
but you have Jerome Powell, the Fed, they've raised interest rates 4 times this year and already looking at 2 rate increases for next year, and that spooks. But the only way we really spooks the market.
Yep.
We'll use that, and
that's kind of a vindictive move on their part because they didn't raise them at all in the last administration for he who shall be nameless, and they're trying to tank the economy. That's what they're trying to do.
All right, let me ask you a question. So here's what I want to do, and those of you who know me Monday through Thursday, you watch the show. When I get when I get the panel on here, I like to come from a different direction so they can elaborate on what they feel. What if I came to you and I said, you know what, I watch every day and I don't agree because, I mean, MSNBC and CNN are opening up their hourly broadcast with crisis, a nation in crisis, a nation in disarray, I mean, from shutdown, this, that, and the other thing. But what if, I just asked the two of you, what say you? What if I came back and said, I think both of you just your answers were running cover for Donald Trump? What if I said, I mean, really, you have no concern for anything taking place right now, and you sound like the 37% that no matter, you know, Donald Trump, and let me say this and then you guys answer. Donald Trump said one time, not to quote him, he could walk out and shoot somebody and people would still vote for him, okay? So you've got Michael Cohen convicted. You've got what taking place with General Flynn, the 2 generals leaving, as I said a minute ago, and then your answers. What if I said, you know, it sounds like you're running cover for him. You have no concerns or minimal concerns, or what issue out of all that you stop and think, okay, but, you know, I'm a little bit, is there anything?
Well, first of all, I think Rush Limbaugh said it this week that, you know, the people that like Donald Trump are going to like him no matter what. Now, I'm not running cover for him, but I'm standing by him because he does have to make his decisions. The stock market is an artificial mark of what's going on. I'm really rich, and I'll pull my money in and out and in and out and in and out to make it do what I want to do. And I'm not the only one. There's a group of them. They did it in 87. They did it in 90. I think it was 93. They play the stock market, and they play people like us who have minute, according to their amounts that they have in. We have minute amounts. And we're the ones that get hurt when the stock market goes up and down. And, of course, they don't care, but they play that. And I just don't see that it's a big deal because, like I say, the people that really hate Donald Trump are these people with this kind of extreme cash, like George Soros. If he pulled all of his money out of the stock market, it'd go, you know, it'd tank. And so I don't really see that as anything but a false indicator.
If I don't support the president, then I'm a hypocrite because I think this is our last shot.
I agree with you.
This is our last shot. We've got a guy in there that is willing to take a bullet for the country, literally and figuratively. And this guy realizes that we're up against a deep state. And the deep state is working 24/7 right now.
So you think the deep state right now is just really ratcheted it up? I mean,
absolutely.
The
you
plan.
You knew they were going to. You said it right there on the couch.
Right.
They're gonna, you know, you ain't seen nothing yet. And
I said last Friday right here.
Yeah.
I said
the games begin.
I said right here. Now I'm not trying to. You see, I'm an optimistic person. I get up in the morning,
really.
and I'm an optimistic person. I mean, you know, you can look at the model of our company. We believe we're growing leaps and bounds because we have a focus and we have a vision and all that. When it comes to the country, I did not want to sound last week, and some of our viewers, it came across that way. And sometimes I say I don't know exactly how things play on the camera, but I don't want to be bleak. I don't want to be bleak. I don't want to sound down and say, oh, well, we just don't have no hope. But last week I said, Bruce said something like, he'll see it when he believes it, and I said, you haven't seen nothing yet. And this week, I mean, they've ratcheted it up. I'm going to say the one thing out of the whole list, and we'll move on because we still have a lot to talk about, but the one thing out of the whole list is pulling out Syria. Now, those of you at home know during the week I'll tell you I don't try to pretend to play a foreign policy advisor or expert, okay, although a lot of people around tables do, but I don't plan to play one. My only thing is, if the President of the United States comes out and he calls her Pocahontas on Twitter, I love it. I don't care, okay?
Right.
But if, it's a big if he goes on Twitter and he says, we're pulling our troops out of Syria, unbeknownst to some people that should have known first, I'm a little iffy on that, if he does that, all right? Because I support the president. I told you yesterday on the phone, the only thing with the Syrian thing, because I've said on my show Monday through Friday, I don't know if I've said on Friday, I don't know why we're in Afghanistan. We've been there 17 years. I don't know why.
Ridiculous.
Right? I agree.
Anything.
I agree 100%. The Russians tried it 9 years or something, and they went home, or 12 years or something, they went home. Mm. Okay, so I understand that. But on the Syrian pullout, it's like I told you on the phone, I just wish, you know, when they say act presidential, I just wish he'd have went to a podium at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and had Pompeo in the picture, had the mustache Bolton, had Kelly and Mattis, and had the four of them and said, I've decided we're pulling out, and have that look of support. And I will say this, he is Commander-in-Chief. I understand that, respect that. But
so you don't have a problem with the decision. What you have a problem with is the optics of how it was presented.
Optics, yes. A little nervous about go it alone, because the feeling is he going it alone. The little feeling of going it alone, let me tell you, I support Donald Trump, people, all right? But I'm not going to do things to a fault. I'm not going to follow, like, you know, over the mountain, and not that he's trying to take me over a cliff. The optics, yes. I got a little problem with the optics, okay? The going it alone, kind of selling it going it alone, makes me a little nervous. And is there going to be a vacuum like Iraq?
So you're concerned.
So I would just like to hear
ISIS is going to be back.
I just like to hear all the facts.
You remember what Trump came out with? He
Yes.
said, "I've amassed the most powerful army in the world. ISIS will not be back because if they threaten us, I'll take them out immediately."
I agree with you.
They're saying ISIS is coming back,
of it this.
just like it happened when there was a vacuum created by Obama.
There's a time I don't need to know everything.
Right.
I just like to know just a little bit, and I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. But when you say Trump says we have the most power, you know, I have to break it to you out there. Trump won't always be president.
See, that's the thing. That's what there's 2 points. Number one, he's got probably feels alone 98.75% of the time. So he makes his decisions based on his own counsel in a lot of ways. Number two, he knows everybody's gunning for him these last 2 years. He's got a lot to do. And what the heck? They don't like me anyway? Go for it. So I think that's his new strategy.
I'm not against. Did I help me out here? Clear if I came across, I'm not against really the move. I just said there's something. If he went it alone.
Do you remember General Schwarzkopf? He'd say, "Okay, boys, we're going right." And really, they were over this way going left. It was a strategic point using the media. Because he did use the media because they wouldn't shut their doggone mouths. He'd say, "Yeah, we're all going right." And then he'd send them the other way because they wouldn't shut up.
I'm open to that.
I
don't know why. You're right. I don't know why. And I'm not upset with him that he is. And I'm not upset with him. You know, I'm not upset with, and I think if there was something really, Rand Paul would have said it. I'm not upset with the coming out of Syria. And I've said, hey, why are we, you know, we just had the 4 killed in Afghanistan here 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3. I'm not upset. Here's the one thing I want to say. I want to move off the subject. But here's the one thing I want to say. I find it interesting. Now, take the optics. When I say the optics, I find it interesting of how the media and all Republicans and Democrats are going crazy. We're in Washington, D.C., worried that some of the defense contractors they promised would have deals.
Yep.
Right? I'm a little worried that them all going nuts over Syria for 2,000 troops, but to send 2,000 of our own troops to our own border was a different
big,
story.
horrible, hairy
Right?
deal, yes. And it's expensive.
Right,
These
exactly.
people are being paid every month anyway.
I knew.
Anyway.
I knew this was coming.
I mean,
You know,
you're
it's
not
all of
spending
the
an
stuff
extra
that we're
dollar.
the stuff that we're talking about is inside.
But that's our border.
40 square
And
miles.
that's
It's
what
inside the
counts.
Beltway.
Right, that's our.
People don't give a darn about
No,
it when they
they
get outside
feel
the
Exactly.
Beltway.
Because
But
they
they want
lost
the borders
house.
protected.
Everybody throws stuff at the president, and he's just like, fine. He's got the
I
magic
love
bracelet on
a
it, you know?
friend of mine that's on the radio over in Athens every morning. He posted this morning. Tim, way to go. He posted, he said, it's been proven the Democrats do not want to fund the wall in fear it won't work. They don't want to fund it in fear it will work.
Absolutely.
And that's the bottom line. So I agree 100%. They went nuts over 2,000 troops. And remember what it was is we're sending them there away from their families during Christmas.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
And everything like that, right? And we're taking families away from these people away from their families at Christmas. Look what it cost, 2,000 troops. Now, we're over in Syria.
Yeah, we don't care about the Syrian, the troops that are over in
Syria,
Syria.
right? We have 2,000 people that may come home close to Christmas or around Christmas, start getting home. You know, really the other day, the optics, yes, I'm not against this president of the United States. The other day, actually, if it was Barack Obama, I did this on the show the other day. I said, you know, if Barack Obama would have done this, the caption, and what I do in the mornings is I will screenshot CNN's and MSNBC's caption at the bottom, or their tags at the bottom of the screen, and I read those, okay, out loud. Now, if it had been 4 days before Christmas and it would be Obama, CNN would have said, Obama's Christmas gift to soldiers is coming home. Would be, you know, right? That would have been the record.
When you said that they would have done that, they already have done it.
Oh, yeah.
When he pulled the troops out last time, there was crickets.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
but what
don't
I'm
say
saying, no,
anything.
what
There's
I'm
a
saying,
history
what I'm
there.
saying is the caption underneath would Christmas for
Yeah.
for soldiers is getting to come home, big deal. It would a Christmas present. The other day, Donald Trump thought he gave 2,000 soldiers and their families a Christmas present, and people went nuts. Okay,
Yeah.
shut down.
The best scene of the week. I keep going back in my mind's eye. I keep seeing that scene in the room with Schumer and with Pelosi and with the president and with Pence, and Nancy's going, Mr. President, you don't have the votes. You don't have the votes. What is she saying today? Mr. President, oh my God, you do have the votes.
You know what's funny with you guys? Now, I thought, you know, I was hoping Bruce and Jane could be here. But I actually run through my mind all the scenarios of the show and wonder who will do the you don't have the votes. Now, will Candace do the you don't have the vote? Will she do the mimic the you don't have the votes? Will Rick do it? Will
Mr.
Bruce?
President,
So you got that one.
You don't have the votes.
You got to be straight, sir. You don't have the votes. You try it. You don't even. Well, you do have the votes.
Read my lips, Nancy. He's got the votes.
Okay, in the same subject. So in the same subject, let's talk government shutdown. And I am going to read yours out loud, but because I chop it up, I'm going to give it to Rick in a minute. You know who you are out there. You sent me an email and you begged me read this out loud. So we're going to read this out loud. Rick's going to do it in a minute. Yeah, you can handle that. Okay, you got the glasses and everything. So Kennedy, that's my man from Louisiana. So they always stop. You ever notice they always stop him at the brick wall down there in the bottom there? Kennedy said, "The man's." This is my line. The man's more serious than 4 heart attacks and a stroke. Right? Remember?
That's right.
This is what he said.
That's
He said, if I was playing poker, the man's more serious than 4 heart attacks and a stroke. That is my line. That guy always gives me lines. I love it all year long. He is. So, anyhow, 4 heart attacks and a stroke. President said he would not sign that. Okay. Now, here's my question. I want to clear something up for the audience. If you first and you second. If the Senate would assent, okay, we just talked about all your support for the President of the United States. If the Senate would assent what they did over, which now we know we have a bigger problem in the Senate than we thought, okay, they assent. Schumer doesn't run the Senate, but they sent it over. If the House would have passed exactly what the Senate sent and sent it to the President's desk and he would have signed it, how would you have felt about Donald Trump then as his supporter?
I would have been extremely disappointed But I can tell you honestly, my wife and I have had this conversation. She thought he was going to sign it, and we kept hearkening back to the omnibus bill when he said, you know,
March 23rd, don't send it again.
Don't send me this stuff again.
March 23rd, right.
And I just felt in my heart of hearts that he is not going to let his base down and go back on his word and cave.
What did he? What did you? So what if he would have? Let's hypothetical. What if he would have?
My wife said she would have just not supported him.
That scared the hell out of me because I knew that was coming.
Me too.
What about you?
Well, I would have been horribly disappointed, and I would have wondered why, because this is a man that he says, I'm going to do it. He does it. You get in my way, I'll knock you down, but I'm going to do it. And if he had signed it, I knew he wouldn't, though, because he said, hey, I'll take it, I'll do it, I don't mind, shut her down. So to me, that was the greatest thing I've ever heard, because we've had the wussy Paul Ryan saying, well, we're going to do this and that, and then he's over here signing
just
stuff.
Had my Doc Whaley moment.
And putting money in his pocket, I'm sure. So, I mean, he is the Republican that we've all dreamed of. You know, he's like on the white horse saying, I'm going to do it, and by gosh, I mean it. So I knew he wouldn't say it. If he had, I would have been horribly disappointed.
Okay. I'm going to say, well, one, right, we have, we sent the House passed a bill last night, my understanding. I just want to check in case I have a text message. All right. The House passed a bill last night adding $5.7 billion for border wall. Now it goes to the Senate. Republicans have control of the Senate. Mitch McConnell needs to do nuclear option. All right.
We got two.
And he needs to do nuclear option and pass it. Now, let me just clear something up for everybody. One of the great things this high with this country now is we know they're lying. We can sort through, we can go through the internet. We don't have to wait for Chuck Todd, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, ABC, CNN to lie to us anymore. We know. It's Friday, December 21st. Mm-hmm. The government runs out of proportion. See, they call it appropriations. Just a portion of the government runs out of money tonight. Now, if you work for the federal government and you get paid today's payday, you get your check. You get your check because it hasn't run out. It doesn't end till midnight tonight, right?
Correct.
All right, so you get your check. Guess what? If you get paid every 2 weeks, you get your check in 2 weeks. Okay? If they go back. So all the lies of getting on the camera and taking people's payday right here at Christmas and doing this right before Christmas, it does not happen, folks. It will not happen. You with me? Biggest lie they're telling you. Mm-hmm. Okay. If
the public is finally figuring it out, too. It's not a big a deal as it was 10 years ago.
My opinion, there's two things. First of all, I have to say this. It pains me to say this. If Schumer would have sent over, because what him and McConnell put together, if they'd have done that in the House and sent it to the president's desk, and he signed it, and he even came out and said, well, I've had people tell me I can get it out of the military budget, he may have lost me.
You may have lost a lot of people.
May have lost me.
But you know what the most burning important thing is?
And the reason being is his word. There's times he speaks to us. He could speak to you, too, if you get on the train. But there's times he speaks to us. And when he said around March 23rd, don't send this again, I took him serious.
Yeah, he meant
absolutely.
Now, they may not, but I took him serious out here in Blue Ridge, Georgia. I took him serious. Don't send it again.
Yeah,
and I waited to see what again meant.
Mm-hmm. And they tried it again. The thing is that's important to our senators and our congressmen, it's Christmas next week, and they want to get something passed. That's why it's the best time to leverage against them, because they want to go home.
No, they kept saying the Senate put something together that we can avoid a shutdown. No, damn it, you avoid a deer in the road.
Exactly.
You didn't avoid nothing.
You just
got to go
the
home.
Can down,
all right. No, I said to myself, no bad words. It's Christmas. Okay, so here's my other question. I had one. I lost it. So it's going back over to the president now. Ready? You ready? This is rolling the dice. You ready?
Coming out.
You ready? This for you. This timing's everything.
Okay.
Is Rush running the country?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, I like him.
Running the country.
He's the man, the myth, the legend.
He's the one that's got his pulse on the nation.
It's not whether it's not whether you want to hear it or not. The guy goes to the White. Was it Tuesday night? Right? Goes to the White House. Mr. President, shut it down. You'll be okay. Come to Mar-a-Lago, play golf, and I'll meet you on the first tee. I'll meet you on the first tee if you want to play.
Well,
right?
You know what?
Shut it down. We'll play golf together. I'll meet you over. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
But he told him that Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
What did Trump do yesterday?
Get her done.
Trump said, I'll shut it down.
That's right.
Right? My opinion is, and I'm not saying I'm against it, my opinion is Russia's running the country. When I say that, I say he's making a lot of big decisions.
Well, he's got a great platform. That's what my husband's like. I've been saying that for years and years, and nobody's listening. I'm like, honey, you don't have a platform. Here's the thing: Rush has the platform.
He does. You gotta humble yourself. Say the guy's got the platform because yesterday, when Trump made the decision, he got word to who?
To Rush.
Got word to Rush.
That's right.
To get it out.
Well, you got a few supporters is what he's got, and he has to stick with he has to dance with the one that brought him to the party because that's how he gets it done. Because the other media is not going to tell you a thing that he's done right.
We got two things to do.
What am I reading?
Next 10, 12 minutes. First, this is from our good friend. You know this person. I just don't have glasses, and I will probably get and keep your thumb on the screen so it won't go down. So you can
keep my thumb on the pulse.
So
right.
Read that real quick. You can give the name if you want. She wouldn't care.
Oh, this is my good friend Joanne. All right, keeping my thumb on the pulse. If MSM didn't keep harping on it, no one would know there was a shutdown. If they shut down tonight, it's the Christmas holiday. Almost all of Washington, D.C. has already left for the holidays. They're all on leave. I used to work for the government in D.C., and it's a ghost town this time of the year, just like across the country. The government used to shut down almost every year at budget approval time, and we just went to work anyway. It's only a big deal to the mainstream media. When the government starts up again, which I think is a valid assumption, everyone will get paid. So everyone goes to work as normal. There is no worry about getting paid.
Thank you, Joey. Yeah, we got it. Yes.
Merry Christmas, Joey.
You've not met Joey. We'll have to introduce you,
No.
Joey. Okay, Merry Christmas, Joey. It is now time. There's two things I want to do. I want your year-end winners and losers.
This is loser and winner of the year.
Yeah, of the
Yes,
year.
this is
And
the
then
big
we're going to
award.
tell our Christmas story.
Drum roll.
Okay, drum roll. Rick, who wants to go first?
Well, let me give you Bruce's real
let's
quickly.
get by proxy.
Yes.
Bruce cannot be here,
Yeah.
but he mailed it in. You ever hear the mail it in? We have the definition for you right
gonna
now.
I'll give you Bruce's loser first. Loser of the year could have been hurricane or fire victims in a human sense, but the best of the worst has to be the citizens of California. Get rid of government moonbeam and get a more leftist Gavin Newsom. Highest gas prices in the U.S. Pension crisis growing worse and never addressed. Bullet train to nowhere in Central Valley and way over budget for simple first phase. One of the highest combined Fed and state income taxes and losing property tax write-off this year. State legislature is dominated by Dems. Taxed your texts failed, but you can see where they want to go. Why does anybody want to stay there? Bruce's winner of the year, the common sense conservative American majority that prevailed and got Brett Kavanaugh confirmed as Supreme Court Justice. Payoff is yet to come.
Those are
right.
excellent.
Now, moving right along to yours. You want yours?
You go.
Okay. There's different kinds of losers. There's the loser type,
I got that. Hey, I like that.
and then there's losers who
Because you're
actually
hitting on
lose.
mine.
That's
Okay.
right. The losers and this form are Paul Ryan, all the rhinos, all the Democrats, all the people who are up there making fun of people and thinking that they're all elite. They're the losers. Now, the main loser and the one that I feel the worst and most sorry for is Michael Flynn. He's given his whole life to service of his country. He was set up, and it was pretty much obvious that he was set up. He goes to the judge to talk about the setup, and the judge serves him a plate of poop that he has to sit there and take, that he's a treasonous person, that he's betrayed his country. That is the worst thing. Not only did you lose all your material possessions practically, you've got somebody sitting there higher holy than thou telling you what you've done when he's never even been in the battlefield. He's never served his country as far as in a military position. He's the biggest loser, and God bless him. I feel so sorry for him. That's the loser. Now, the winners, I think I have to agree with Bruce that as is in the minor winners is the conservative American. I think that we finally have a champion. But the biggest winner, the one who has shown the most grace under fire, would have to be Melania Trump. She's beautiful. She's rich on her own. She didn't marry Donald Trump to get rich. She was already rich. She's a model. She has class. She has grace. And just like in high school, when the mean girls start talking about her, she's like, okay, that's fine. And she goes on. She's got beautiful taste in White House decorations, beautiful taste in photographs. I noticed Vogue had stabbed her a few times about the picture because her and her husband were holding hands and looked happy. Oh my God, people, get a life.
I have accidentally seen Bill hug Hillary.
That was an accident.
Right.
Yes, but
I didn't mean to interrupt you. My deal was not to interrupt. But
she's beautiful, and she's classy, and they don't ruffle her feathers. She might get upset, but they don't appear in public to ruffle her feathers at all. That's my winner.
I almost felt like bursting into song Tom Jones. She's a lady.
Yeah, well, yeah, she's a lady. Talking about...
What's new, pussycat? Yeah. No, I shouldn't.
Okay.
Man, I didn't say Tom Jones.
The lights are on, but you're not home.
Yeah, why do I get in trouble? I did not do. My Tom Jones. Go ahead.
Okay, my loser. And by the way, my loser. I pared all these losers down, and I kind of put them in order: 3, 2, 1. Mueller was number 3. Swept 17,000 emails and texts from Strzok and Page. Strzok. Wasted $30 million of taxpayers' money on a witch hunt. Hired all Democrat lawyers in a nonpartisan event. Comey was number 2, and I'm trying to go fast. Serial leaker. Stole government documents. Lied to Congress. Prepared Hillary's exoneration before an investigation. And on and on and on. My number 1 loser, and I know I'm going to probably get some flack for this, but it's going to be Jeff Beauregard Sessions. This guy was on the Trump train from day one. However, the day that he recused himself is the day that we went right in the tank. Mm-hmm. Keep in mind, folks, if this guy hadn't recused himself, he could have stopped this Mueller investigation. He could have kept Rosenstein in check. But no, he recused himself, so Rosenstein takes over. The deep state is on the stage. They appoint special counsel, and the rest is history. He's the loser because he could have stepped up and controlled the whole thing.
This kind of loser.
Where's your winners?
My winner.
I like a guy writes it down.
My winner. My number 3 winner was obviously speaks for itself, Trump. He's weathered an enormous storm, and he's done a whole lot in 2 years. My winner, and I'm going to go back to my second choice because I'm going to highlight some of the things that he's done. My winner was also Melania Trump.
Hey, great minds think alike.
Melania Trump. Mm-hmm. And you gave all the reasons. Priorities, family, personal health, role as a first lady, stand by your man. Her traits, loyalty, grace, elegance under fire, intellect, her instincts, she lives her embodiment of be best.
That's right.
Okay, my number 2, and it was a close choice. My number 2 is who Nikki Haley referred to as the quiet genius, and that's Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner, behind the scenes, has been the architect of USMCA, which is the replacement for NAFTA. Mm-hmm.
And he got that award from the president of Mexico.
Exactly.
They didn't even talk about that.
He orchestrated the Young Black Leadership Summit. He was the guy behind, for the last 2 years, prison reform.
Absolutely.
Keeping in mind that 8 years previous to that, they couldn't get squat done. He is the orchestrator of the World Cup coming to the U.S. in 2026, Summer Olympics in 2028. The move to Jerusalem is the capital, and he continues to work on peace in the Middle East. This guy has done so much in 2 years.
For no pay.
That he could have
Let me tell you
easily
something.
He could have easily gotten my winner of the year. But
Let me
was
say
my
this
gal.
respectfully. You did an outstanding job, but when somebody hits it out of the park, they hit it out of the park. Rick, you hit it out of the park.
That's true.
You hit it out of the park.
He had his written down. I had
You
mine
hit
by
it.
memory.
You hit it right. Exactly. You hit it right out of the park.
Thank you.
Now I want to just explain this. So when the screaming starts, I know me always leave it to me to say something, but I want you to understand something. I support the president of the United States. I study politics. I enjoy to study politics, and I watch campaigns since I was 5 years old. No jokes. I have watched political campaigns. Bottom line, family grew up in it, so I watch political campaigns to see how they are run and see if they achieve the mission. Okay, that's the bottom line. Stay with that. So I'm not telling you I don't support. You hit a home run because there's your loser and then your loser, okay? So my loser of the year is just that, as blanket as can be, is the Republican Party. Now, although they had the votes last night and they've sent this to the president, they had the votes for 2 years. They had the votes every chance. They've always had the votes. So don't get excited last night that the Republicans showed up with some votes. They've always had those votes, folks. They're nothing new there. Now, studying politics, I go back all the way to Newt Gingrich and his contract with America. Remember that on the steps? I maybe should get in something else to do if I remember that. But I remember that on the steps of the Capitol, that big board with the contract with America. You remember that? And then what did we do, right? We gave the Senate, Republicans, to Dr. Frist, I think his name is, for the Senate. And we gave the House to Dennis Hastert, okay? And Dennis has a little problem, touchy-feely with wrestlers or whatever. Bada bing, bada boom, he went to prison, right? But what did they do? Republicans spent like drunken sailors, Fist and Hastert, right? And I said, I did not have a show at the time, but I said to everybody, okay, the Democrats got the House back. I said, if the Republicans ever get it back, will they act like Frist and Hastert? Or will they actually keep their word? So to me, I'm really wondering, what will the Republicans say to you to get you or lead you to believe they should get the House back? What next? Defund Planned Parenthood? Oh, they get hot, they get mad. So the Republicans are my loser, period. Watch out, you're going to get, this is going to upset a lot of people. My winner of the year, okay, is Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi is my winner of the year. Nancy Pelosi had the gavel, lost the gavel. You're going to wake up in 2 weeks, she got the gavel again. Nancy Pelosi put a plan in place with the DCCC, and if you don't know what the DCCC is, you need to look it up. She put a plan in place. She got the media to tell everybody they wouldn't vote for her for Speaker of the House. Biggest setup in the world. Biggest setup in the world. Nancy Pelosi won. Won, folks. Now, I know you're upset, but if you're going to look at who did not achieve the mission, they're leaving. And who achieved the mission? Nancy Pelosi. Simple enough. So it's not a winner. Do you kind of understand where I'm going?
It doesn't matter if you like them or not.
Exactly.
It's that, did you get the job done?
The mission, did you complete it? Nancy Pelosi will be Speaker of the House in 2 weeks, period. I know that was tough. I had to get it out. Okay? And I know a lot of my friends, you just made Republicans winners and Democrats losers. I'm sorry. Now, that being said, now it's time to switch over to good news because we're running late.
Let's have some fun.
Okay. Christmas stories. Favorite.
Me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see. In 1970, I proposed to my wife, who was a senior in college. 1971, we got married. We've been married for 47 years. I'll never forget the night that we had, over Christmas time, we had a party at my wife's house given by her parents, and it was an engagement party. Okay? The whole house is decorated. The Christmas tree is up in the big bay window in the living room. All the relatives were in for the holidays. My parents were there. My brother was there. Cindy's folks were giving it, and everybody was feeling no pain. And Cindy's dad, who has since departed and just a wonderful human being, I'll never forget this. He stood up. He switched over in the summer from gin and tonics to old fashions. So they were into the old fashions. And he stood up with his old fashioned, and it reminded me of Clark Griswold, but he stood up to give us this big toast. And he went, "Let's all toast to my new son-in-law and to my daughter, the bride-to-be. Here, here." And with that, it went ass over tea kettle into the Christmas tree. The Christmas tree went down, and it started sparking.
That is a crock.
I swear to God. He went into the Christmas tree, the old-fashioned went flying, and everybody's going, "Oh my God, is he hurt?" No, he wasn't hurt. He laid on the floor and continued the toast with the Christmas tree sparking in the background. Anyway,
there you go.
That's one of the funniest stories I can remember.
That was great.
That's really hard to follow, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was a sophomore in high school, and I was dating my husband that I'm married to right now, and he had gone to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, to go back into the Army after he graduated from AB Tech in Asheville. And I was waiting at home, and he came back during Christmas, and I remember seeing him come back, walking from in the airport towards me, with all in green, with his green hat and his whole, Army fatigues, carrying a huge duffel bag, and that was probably one of the best sights I had ever seen. And then he stayed with us for a couple weeks, and we spent Christmas together and decorated the tree, and that was really nice. Then he had to go to Germany, and circumstances being what they were, we lost touch. So in 2014, I had started looking for him again, because I thought, well, I just want to see if he's still okay, or because I knew he had been in the military and all. So I did find him on a social media site. So I sent him a message, but he never went back on that site. So I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? So I look up his address on the internet, and I send him a card on December 1st. On December 3rd, he calls me, and on December 13th, he came back. He walked in my door and gave me the first kiss I'd had from him in 36 years. And it was the best Christmas, best kiss I ever had. And we've been together ever since.
No sound effects.
We got married in 2017, which was like 40 years later. And it's the best thing that ever happened for me, and hopefully for him. But those are my two Christmas memories that come together 36 years apart, but still same players.
Well, I'm going to say this. Thank you very much. Beautiful story. Always want to hear about that great kiss. Yeah, okay. Is this favorite Christmas stories, or do I feel like the guy, is it Chuck Woolery and I'm on Love Connection?
No,
right?
It's the Hallmark Channel.
Oh, Hallmark Channel. Oh, okay.
Oh, where can my baby?
All right, stop. My turn. Okay, we're running late. Let me say a couple things here, because we are running late. We got our pet of the week, and we got Jesse waiting. And I don't use this show as a platform. Now, it's a political segment, and Monday through Friday I do an opinion show. But what I try not to do is use this show as a platform, but 2 times a year, Easter and Christmas. So I don't use the show to discuss faith. So somehow my dad, this is a shout out to Dad and examples and things like that, but somehow my dad tricked me into believing from about the time I was 5 I was enjoying life if I was working. Okay, so he has had an amazing knack to make me believe my most favorite memory is working. But anyhow, we used to sell Christmas trees, okay, back in the old days. And I won't bore you, but every year we sold Christmas trees. We had the biggest Christmas tree lot in town, the only one, radio station come, all the above, okay? So we sold Christmas trees. So every Christmas season, it was a family thing. Everybody, aunts and uncles, setting up the Christmas tree lot, setting up the lights, setting up everything. Now, I got to work the cash register because the tree was 10, 15, 20, and 25. And actually, I did understand if you got 2 trees, one for 15 and one for 10, I can make change if you gave it to me. So I'm only 10 years old, and I was talked in. That was the great place to be, is take the money as it's coming through. I knew how to tie a tree down in your trunk or at the top of your roof of your car when I was 10 years old. But here's the point, okay? That was a great family time we all spent together. We worked very hard, but it was so enjoyable. And there was nothing like where I'm from of a Christmas tree lot, big Christmas tree lot with the old-fashioned lights strung through it that had snow coming down. You'd have snow coming, picture perfect, okay, Hallmark Channel. Snow coming down or whatever. So we're setting up the Christmas tree lot, and this is not Christmas Day. We're setting up the Christmas tree lot, and this is a very big, impressionable thing. And we're getting our sign for the highway, and the guy at that time, you don't do banners in an hour, all right? Now you can buy a banner in an hour. So the guy putting the banners that you're going to put up on the highway showed up, right? And at that time, you paid so much a letter, and they were very expensive. And he showed up, and he rolled out Xmas trees. Xmas trees. And my dad went off. And he was explaining to my dad that how much money he saved by taking Christ out on that banner. That all people needed to know, they'd see the trees, they'd see the X, and they'd see the trees and pull in. And as silly as it may sound to some of you out there, I'll never forget being 10 years old and him telling that guy to take that back, and he would have new banners out, and he would never take Christ out of Christmas. And I just remember that, and forever. So let me just say this, and I'll close. You know, one of the greetings we all have at this time of year when we bump into each other, we say hello, we say Merry Christmas, but what do we say? Are you ready for Christmas? Right? Are you ready for Christmas? Are you ready for Christmas? And what are the answers back? No, I'm not ready for Christmas. No, I'm never ready for Christmas. Oh, I can't get ready for Christmas. There's too much to do. And I understand why you give me that answer, but to me, when I say, are you ready for Christmas? You know, when you're a kid and you look out the window because you're looking out there and you're 9 years old and you're wanting to see if there really is something that flies across the stars. It's something that blinks in the front like Rudolph, and you hear sleigh bells and you hear a report that this guy's flying through there. That's great. But, you know, later in life, I'm just asking you to look out the window on Christmas Eve and see if Christ is coming Christmas morning. And be ready for Christmas. Really think about it. Are you ready for Christmas? Get ready for Christmas. We love you here. We thank you for watching every single week. Merry Christmas to you and your family. We're going to take a break, and we're going to have Jessie Barton, Senior Living, in next with her Christmas story. Yes, sir.
Can I just say a shout out to my friends that watch? A Merry Christmas real quickly. Shout out to Ross and his family in Atlanta, and Debbie and her family in Tampa.
Show his cookies.
Yeah, you got to do that.
What?
Dad Sullivan, or what it was?
Well, it was so kind. Lisa came in this morning and gave us a little gift of Christmas cookies, and I always think of this story about Ed Sullivan, who used to have a show. If anybody doesn't remember, Ed Sullivan Show, and every Sunday night at 7 o'clock we'd gather around for the Sullivan Show, and he'd have a group of people in the audience that he'd always recognize, and I'll never forget. When I saw these cookies, first thing that came into mind is Ed Sullivan standing up there and says, "We've got Girl Scout troop from New York, 363. Come on, girls, stand up and show us your cookies." And there you go.
And he meant cookies.
Merry Christmas. We love you. Jesse's up in just a minute.